This is a Code Ninja security advisory. We're delivering critical intelligence on a privilege escalation vulnerability that's being actively exploited. Listen up, because this is not a drill. This is a clear and present danger to your systems.
Attention all personnel. We're classifying this as threat level critical. Why? Because CVE-2023-36424 is confirmed to be under active exploitation in the wild. That means threat actors are weaponizing this as we speak, so immediate action is absolutely essential.
The CVSS score on this is a 7.8 out of 10. That puts it squarely in the high severity category. But what does that number really mean? It means a low-privileged attacker who's already on a machine can use this to get complete system control. It turns a tiny foothold into a catastrophic breach.
All right, let's get straight to it. The objective of this advisory is simple: to give you the actionable intel you need to fix this vulnerability and harden your perimeter. This is all about empowering you to defend your network.
Kicking things off with Phase 1, Threat Analysis. We're going to dissect this vulnerability piece by piece.
So the vulnerability itself is CVE-2023-36424. It's a privilege escalation flaw in the Windows Common Log File System driver, a little file called clfs.sys. Now it's really important you understand this isn't just some application-level bug. This is a flaw at the kernel level, the very core of the operating system. That makes it exponentially more dangerous.
The assessment from our operators in the field is pretty stark. I want you to let this sink in. The window for proactive defense has officially closed. We are now in a reactive mode. Your entire focus needs to shift to containment and immediate remediation.
Okay, before we go any deeper, we're going to pause for a moment to establish a secure communications link. This is to make sure you get ongoing intelligence updates as this threat continues to evolve.
To maintain operational security, you need to stay locked into this intel feed. Subscribe to the channel and, more importantly, enable all notifications. Look, this isn't just about staying informed. It's a security necessity for receiving real-time threat data the second it drops.
Next, acknowledge receipt of this intelligence by liking this advisory. Think of it as your formal ACK. It lets us know this critical alert has reached you, and it supports our coordinated disclosure efforts.
And finally, we're conducting a field census to help gauge the blast radius of this threat. In the comments, I need you to report your patch status. Just type vulnerable or patched. Your input helps the entire community understand the scope of this thing and helps everyone prioritize their response.
Okay, let's move on to Phase 2. This is where we trace the timeline, from the moment this was disclosed to its full-blown weaponization.
This timeline tells a story of rapid escalation. Back in November 2023, Microsoft disclosed the vulnerability and pushed out patches. Good start. But by March 2024, a proof-of-concept exploit was published on GitHub for the whole world to see. Fast forward to April 2026, CISA confirms it's being actively used in attacks, which triggers that April 27th remediation deadline for federal agencies. That's how fast a patched vulnerability becomes a 5-alarm fire.
Now for Phase 3, the blast radius. Here, we're going to define the impact and pinpoint exactly who's in the crosshairs.
So, what's the ultimate prize for an attacker who successfully exploits this? Privilege escalation. They can elevate their access from a standard everyday user all the way up to system. To put that in perspective, a standard user might have a key to their own apartment. The system user has the master key to the entire building, the blueprints, and the security codes. They can install malware, exfiltrate your most sensitive data, create new administrator accounts. It's total, complete control. Game over.
The technical root cause here is what we call an out-of-bounds read. In simple terms, the clfs.sys driver doesn't properly check its work. It fails to verify the size of the data it's reading, so a bad actor can craft a special log file that tricks the driver into reading past its intended boundary, right into sensitive kernel memory. From there, they can manipulate that memory to their advantage.
And the blast radius for this vulnerability, it is absolutely massive. Just look at this table. We're talking about a huge range of systems, from old Windows Server 2008 installs all the way up to the very latest Windows 11 builds. It doesn't matter if you're running desktops or servers, new systems or legacy ones. If you're on Windows, you need to be checking this list and checking it carefully.
All right, let's get to the most critical part of this advisory. Phase 4, the remediation protocol. These are the exact steps you need to take right now to protect your environment.
Here is your immediate action plan. It's a simple 3-step process. First, inventory.
You need to know exactly which of your assets are vulnerable. Second, deploy patches. Apply those critical security updates immediately. Prioritize anything that's internet-facing or handles multiple users. And third, verify. Do not just assume the patches were applied. Confirm it. Trust, but verify.
Your primary line of defense is right here. It's the security updates Microsoft released back in November 2023. These updates fix the root cause of the problem by adding the proper checks into the driver. Patching is not a workaround, it is the definitive fix.
And if you need a benchmark for just how urgent this is, look no further. CISA has mandated that all U.S. federal agencies must apply these mitigations by April 27, 2026. That deadline should be your operational benchmark. If it's a mandatory, drop everything priority for the government, it needs to be an immediate priority for you, too.
Finally, Phase 5, Ongoing Defense and Detection. For those of you who have to operate under the assumption of compromise, this is your threat hunting guidance.
Your Security Operations Center, your SOC, needs to start hunting for these indicators of compromise immediately. You're looking for suspicious access to CLFS log files. Those are the ones with the .blf extension. Watch for any unexpected privilege elevation events, weird kernel activity related to clfs.sys, and especially any process that suddenly and unexpectedly gains system privileges.
Now, some might question why we do a public disclosure like this. The answer is simple. Coordinated vulnerability disclosure is essential. Once a threat is being actively exploited in the wild, the defenders, that's you, need the specifics to protect yourselves. Keeping this information secret only benefits the attackers. This is about leveling the playing field and empowering the defenders.
That concludes this advisory. Implement the remediation protocol, hunt for these indicators, and verify your patches. Get to it. Stay secure.